Yo, what's popping, bitches? Welcome back to another video. So yeah, in this video, we're gonna be talking about a topic, not a serious topic, so not like those serious topics, so don't be too afraid. But we're gonna be talking about villains. They're one of the most important pieces of media of all time. Some people like them, some people hate them, and some people like them a bit too much. So you must worry about the insanity. So yeah, and we'll be talking about villains in medias. Well, two types of medias, in fact: fanfictions and gacha. If you don't know what fanfictions and gacha are, let me explain. So pretty much fanfictions is basically like, it's like you could write your own version, like your own version of a story, another famous stories. And gacha is basically like an animation, but it's like a cheap animation where anyone can do it, and like Go Anime, for example. But I think it's a bit less complicated, but whatever, bro. So yeah, something I realized about both these fanfictions is that they both have villains, and I'm only talking about how they treat the villains now. Before you guys say anything, I'm not saying that every single fanfiction treats their villains that way, and I guess we actually treats their villain this way. I'm not talking about every single villain in this category. I'm talking about the broken villains. You know, those broken villains who had bad backstories, who, of course, was not an excuse for what they did. They're still evil, but it gives them a justifiable reason and gives them a new life. We're gonna be seeing how fanfictions and gacha treat these villains as. So, anyway, the first types of villains, the fanfiction villains, the fanfiction misunderstood villains. Something I've realized about these fanfiction villains when they make them be misunderstood or broken is when I just read, they make these villains look like they're the victims. Like, when I read, they make us look in their perspective, they make them look like they're the victims, like they were the ones that were hurt. Like it's just so stupid. And they talk about how that have to deal with all the consequences of their mistakes, like they were hurt, but like in the end of the day, they're dealing with those consequences because of what they did. And even misunderstood villains, yeah, even them, like as I said before. Anyways, as I said before, even misunderstood villains, even they're villains in the end of the day. And they treat to be treated them villains, but fanfictions don't treat them like villains. And for example, I'll see a lot of Cozy Girl fanfictions, you know, Cozy Girl from My Little Pony, and they make her look like she's the fucking victim. Like, they make, like, in those victims we get to, it's like an aftermath of what happened after that, after being executed, and they make her look like she's this innocent victim being hurt by these, and make the main six look like the bad guys. But when it's literally the opposite, bro. Like, even if she had those backstories, which she probably doesn't, like, she's probably evil. Even if she does, that's not an excuse. She chose to do it in the end of the day. Like, she's now here's how Gacha shows the misunderstood villains. Now, yes, you could now. Here's what Gacha does to the misunderstood villains that are different from fanfiction villains. The difference between Gacha villains and fanfiction villains is that gacha villains is, yes, you understand what they do, they explain the story, but at the end of the day, they're still villains. Like, they still treat these characters like villains. Like, yeah, you could feel bad for them, you could see them as not as this power evil monster, but at the end of the day, you still wouldn't be justifiable. You still would want those villains to get the consequences that they deserve. Like, you still hate them. You still wouldn't like those villains. Like, here are some good cases. We got Olivia from that one Gacha Age account story. That was really good. It was a really unique story. So if you don't know, basically it's, you know, like those most stories where basically mom gives birth to twins, and then she hates one for some reason, and loves and spoils one for another reason, and then the dad dies in a car accident, and after that, so one was actually the royal princess all of a sudden, and then it was a hated child, and the hated child ends up leaving, and the mom and substitutes to get some sort of calm in the end. But and it's beautiful. There's no twin sister in this movie. It's just one girl. And basically, at first, we get to see Oliver's story. So at first, Oliver, we all think that Oliver, if it wasn't for that title that says, "Hey, my name is," insert main character's name, we all would have thought that Olivia was the main character of the story. Like, it explains that in like a no perspective. It acts like she's a good guy, and we all thought that the bad guy is gonna be the stepdad, the dad for abandoning. But actually, the dad was this twist hero. He was actually a good guy. But the mom was abandoned. And it's perfect because it shows that the mom was broken and she wasn't always evil, but it also shows that the mom is still evil. Like, she's still a villain, that she has to face consequences for her actions. Another good example of this case is Poppy from Bluebeam. I already talked about her in like one of my previous videos. I love her content. She makes great funny content, but her classmate, yeah, I worry about the insanity, not gonna lie. Like, but anyways, another thing is her story is also well driven. Like, I remember there being an episode where she talked about her backstory. I don't know. I think it's probably deleted by now. Maybe the playlisting needs delay. But basically, in the video, she talked about her backstory. It's about how she was neglected by her parents and how she was given up for adoption. And at the end of the day, you could feel bad for her. But at the end of the day, in the other media she was in, they never made her feel like a hero. They always made her feel like the villain that must be defeated. Like, come on, bro. She's literally the Bonnie Blue of the Bluebeam was. Anyways, guys, yeah, thanks. I just wanted to weigh in. It's not that important, and there are a lot of other similar types of videos that bigger YouTubers do about these villains. But I just wanted to do this video, guys. Anyways, lippity uppity doo.